everybody, and thanks for joining us for another episode of the PHNX Suns Podcast, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsay Smith here with Gerald Bourget and Espo. And gentlemen, a big day for the Phoenix Suns and Mercury organizations. New owner was welcomed today at an introductory press conference down at the Footprint Center. We were all there, got to meet Mat Ishbia and talk with him about his philosophy, his thoughts on these organizations, and of course the trade deadline that is just around the corner. Initial thoughts from you guys. What stuck out the most from that press conference?
From a personal perspective, it felt like for the first time in a long time, you could comfortably walk back into that building as a former employee and feel comfortable with it. There felt like in some of the employees I talked to, kind of a sense of relief, a sense of a new start, a fresh start, which is good. These people deserve that, and there's an excitement. I had more than one person come up to me and say, I've been working with, people in his organization and been around him the last week or two, and he feels like the real deal. That means a lot more to me than, articles that have profiled him over the last couple of weeks, because we know that there's an angle to those were planted to try to make things feel upbeat in a lot of cases. But when you hear those employees that have been through it go, this feels different, that means a lot to me. Look, the press conference went fine. He said the things that you wanted to hear. He hit the talking points about this is about family. This isn't about money. This is about winning and being the best franchise on and off the court, and that we're stewards of this franchise. We're not owners. We're just here basically holding something that belongs to this community. All things we've said through this process we want. Now they've been said by a new ownership. Now it's to live up to it. And I talked with Matt and Justin Ishbia on the side. Both were very nice, but now it's time to live up to the expectation that you've set. And once they do that for a while, then we can say, yes, this is different, but this is the right start.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. He said all the right things. Now it's a matter of backing up what he's been saying with his actions. And he was very energetic. He was very
much energy.
So much energy. Lindsay that early in the morning was not ready for it, but neither was I, to be honest.
I'll have what you're having.
Neither was I, to be honest. But no, it's good to see an owner that is excited to be here, that is, not going to be fully transparent, but is going to be more public facing. And, he's talking about wanting to be part of the community, wanting to get out there and be engaged. And based on everything we've heard about the way he runs his business in Michigan, he's a very hands-on guy. So I don't know how that's going to work as far as his business being in Michigan and his NBA franchises being here, NBA and WNBA, but he does seem like the type that's going to be very hands-on, that's going to be very involved. And he, like I said, he said all the right things in terms of getting people to buy in. And that's, we could talk about what he does as an owner at the trade deadline, luxury tax stuff, all this other things. But the base level is that people are excited that it's not Robert Sarver. It's a very low bar to clear. But as long as he treats employees with respect, like he has been known to do at his own business, hopefully that will be something that is an automatic improvement just from the last guy alone.
Now, I will say this. He did make it a point to thank everybody on the staff that put together the press conference. I don't know that I remember ever hearing that in that kind of a setting before. I know it's a small thing. It could be a platitude, but I thought, hey, at least that was done. And yeah, I think there will be a learning experience for him on how to manage this from afar and still find a way to be hands-on. But I did like one thing that he said, that he's going to take the time over the next 30, 60, 90 days, whatever the time frame may be, to get to know the business before making the decisions, right? Talk to people, talk to past employees, even said, and understand things. I like the mindset because it'd be real easy to just come in and go, everybody, we're going to be making wholesale changes. But I like the fact that he's going to run this with the right kind of mentality.
He said all the right things. Now, all we can hope for is that he does all the right things, like he said. I do appreciate his 4 pillars of focus for these organizations. And of course, the first one being culture within, the second one being fan base and community and the experiences of the fans. Community was the third one. The second one was the fan experience. Community was the third one. And then the fourth one, of course, being winning.
We
love that.
Win. It was really odd when he did that on stage. Just kidding.
Clearly a fan of the show.
He said family though, right? And a lot of times that's lip service. But I found it interesting. I was talking with Justin Ishbia off to the side, his brother, who's part owner, and he started talking about his mom and saying, hey, she's a school teacher. That was such a big influence. And then he goes, actually, you know what, Greg? And he calls over his parents to introduce his parents to me. And I was like, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
Like, I get you could talk about family, but he went out of the way to like proudly introduce his parents and his mom and in particular. And I thought that was really cool. That does show somebody that takes great pride in his family to introduce him to some guy he had briefly met online before today. Like that was cool.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. But so far, things are looking good over in Suns and Mercury world. And fingers crossed, things happen at the trade deadline. Gerald, did you talk? So Gerald had a one-on-one with Mat Ishbia. We are going to watch that first. But did you talk about that during the one-on-one, the trade deadline?
We did. We brought it up briefly, and he said kind of similar things to what he's been saying as far as we're going to be aggressive. We feel like we have a very good team that can compete for a title now, but they are going to pursue all avenues. And this is something James Jones has said a lot too, as far as leaving no stone unturned, pursuing all avenues. So there was a lot of good stuff that we touched on in the one-on-one.
I did see a tinfoil hat theory to come out today. They gave Mat Ishbia the number 23. Does that mean Cam Johnson is gone? It's the year that he took over the franchise, everybody. Jeez.
It could
Fantastic. All right. So let's watch Gerald's one-on-one with Mat Ishbia, and then we'll talk about that. But first, make sure you guys grab a nice cold Four Peaks beer to enjoy while you're watching this one-on-one that Gerald had with Suns owner Mat Ishbia. If you haven't picked up Four Peaks beer yet, you don't have it at your refrigerator in your home, or if your office is cool like ours and lets you drink at work, maybe you should pick some up. Also, make sure you grab some before the big game, because Four Peaks beer and sports literally go hand in hand. You can't enjoy one without the other properly.
They go can in hand.
Oh, wow. Look at you go. Also, if you haven't had the chance to try Arizona's #1 wheat ale in Wow Wheat, then make sure you head on down to Old Town Boondocks for the Tailgate Time Machine Party this Saturday, February 11th. Try Four Peaks' newest innovation. It's packed full of Arizona citrus flavor, and it is perfect for light drinking in the desert sun. Just a reminder, though, you do have to be 21 years or older, and we ask that you enjoy responsibly. All right, let's listen.
Well, thank you for taking the time. Appreciate having you here. First question, obviously, a lot of the rumors that you even mentioned in the press conference as far as names that are being tossed about. We've heard Mateen Cleaves and Steve Nash and questions about what Justin's role is kind of going to be. So I was curious, any of those rumors you'd like to squash or address at this point in time?
Yeah, there's really, the problem is there's so many people talking about it. So I'm very well connected in the basketball world. So that's first. And so people are going to tie me to a lot of different names. And the way I tell people is you're going to find out I'm quite transparent and honest with things. If I want to hire someone or I think someone's a good fit, I'll let you guys know. The reality is right now I'm coming in and listening and learning. I don't plan on making any changes between now and the end of the season, and understanding what we have, learning, meeting people, find out what people's strengths and weaknesses are. What do we need to change? And so there's no person, there's no group, I don't know what people are asking or thinking, but the reality is when you call me and ask me, I'll tell you what's going on and I'll tell you what I think, and I'll tell you it with conviction, because if I decide to make a hire of anybody or make a change with anybody, it's going to be with conviction.
Absolutely. And as far as the listening and learning process, obviously the leadership that's in place with James Jones and Monty, I know you've only been here for a day or so, but have you been able to talk with them at all, and what have kind of your impressions been of them so far?
Yeah, both great guys, both played in the league before, so they understand the game really well. I spent more time with James than with Monty. Monty's been obviously with the team, and we had a chance to meet him a couple different times, but not really sat down and talk philosophy and understand things. But those guys are experts. They know what they're doing with it. My job is to give them all the support, give them all the resources to be successful. And I think, like I've told many people, I think our team and our setup and what we have right now is extremely, extremely successful. And can we make it more successful? Absolutely, right? There's a measurement of that. But how do we do that, and when do we do that, and what's the play? Those are things that I have to discuss with them and figure out what the best play is for us to go forward with.
Speaking to that, you mentioned the Suns are kind of the elite franchise. You want them to be the elite franchise, and they were, it wasn't just this franchise is available. It was, oh wow, this franchise is available. So what for you about the Suns and the Mercury made them stand out in that way?
Well, first off, it's the community. The Phoenix community is amazing. All right, people want to talk about the weather. The weather's amazing too, but that's not what I'm thinking about. The way people are, they're significant. They love the Suns, right? They love the Mercury. They want to be in. They're basketball fans, and so to go to a town that loves basketball in amazing weather with a structure that's already set up. These teams don't come up for sale, and this is this is the one. I can't believe it's available, and so right away, day one, it was like, that's the target. How do we do that? We are not losing out on this. And if we have to pay more than everyone else, if we have to build a relationship, we have to figure out what it takes, we're going to make sure we can come out here and be the next owner of the Suns and Mercury and do right by the community with it.
Obviously, you're coming in day before the trade deadline. That's what everybody's wondering about, how that works. Just what have those conversations with James been like? I know you've been talking about being aggressive, and how does that kind of dynamic shake out as far as the communication you two have?
Yeah, so, great communication. The first thing is, like I said, I think our team's in a great position. I think we got a great team, we got a competitive team. When we're healthy, I don't know if there's a better team in the West than us, right? And I really believe that. Now, can we improve our probability? Can we make things better? Absolutely. And being aggressive means, we're going to look at everything. And I do look at everything, but at the same time, we're going to only make the right choices that help us win short-term and long-term. And if we're going to make a short-term decision, it better not be the wrong thing. And so we're really making sure we look at everything. But I feel great. I mean, we got some of the best players in the league on our team. We've got young players. We got veterans. We're really in a great position. I don't know if people in Phoenix realize how great it is. I know our record last year was a lot better than it is this year, but there's been a lot of injuries. I love our team.
As far as the fan experience and the team member experience, I know that what happened before you can't really answer for those things. But as far as the message that you want to broadcast, as far as Suns fans that are a little jaded by that whole investigation and that whole experience, I know that you like to run your business like a team and that family values are important to you. So what would kind of your message be to those fans that are waiting to see how the next ownership group comes in and handles it?
Yeah, well, what they're going to have to realize is, we're going forward. We're looking forward 100% of the way. What's happened in the past, I can't control. Unfortunately, I can't change the good or the bad, but I can control the future as the steward of this organization and doing the right thing. And so we're going to focus on the team member experience, the culture. We're going to dominate the fan experience, make sure fans love every aspect of it, win or lose, right? Community involvement. We're going to do great things in the community, and at the same time, winning in everything we do. And winning, makes things a lot better. But we're going to focus on all four of those things in every detail, and that's what we're going to focus on.
I know you've only been here obviously a day or whatever, and your goal is to listen and learn. But as far as things that you look for to improve, like maybe having a G League team again, things of that nature, is there anything that comes to mind, and your thoughts on maybe having a G League team again for this franchise?
Yeah, I'm big on player development, getting people, like I said, if you're at the press conference, I said, get great people to join your team, train them and coach me the best version of themselves, which means getting them better every day, and then treat them so well they never want to leave. And so having a G League team seems to make a lot of sense. And I think that's something we're going to look at very closely and plan on doing, to be honest with you. And so I don't know how that process is, what the time frame is, and how to do it, but we are going to have one because that's the right thing to do to develop talent, to be able to build, and we got to make it so it's close to Phoenix, so therefore we can send players up and down. So I think there's a lot of things, I've seen a lot of teams do it really well with their G League team, and I think we're going to emulate that and hopefully make it even better.
Sure. And then on the Mercury side of things, obviously, big WNBA free agency period of lots of news and all that stuff. And there's been a lot of talk as far as the chartered flights and that issue in the league. Just what are your thoughts on the direction of the Mercury, and would chartered flights in the league be something that you might be interested in as a new WNBA owner?
Yeah, so I'm very excited about the direction of Mercury. We got the greatest of all time on our team, Diana Taurasi, and we've got a great team. I'm not going to go through name all the players. We got a great team, Brittany. We got everyone there. so I feel good about where we're at, and at the same time, can we get better? Absolutely. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to dig in and figure out how do we make improvements in every aspect of it. On the charter plane situation, like the way I look at it is I got to dig in and get more knowledge on it.
Sure.
Like I talked about the press conference, knowledge creates confidence, and confidence will create success and conviction around it. And so I'm going to dig in and figure out what I can do, how that applies, all the details, which I don't have all of them yet, as it's day one on the job. But I'm definitely going to be looking into every way to make the Mercury the elite franchise, just like the Suns. I'm all in.
Obviously, Devin Booker is the big attraction, the face of the franchise type deal. What are your thoughts of him from afar and watching his growth in the league and where he is now as kind of that Suns figurehead?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Devin Booker fan. I think he's got, all the things besides on the court, great shooter and athleticism and like all the things you want to talk about on the court, but I think he's even a better person off the court. And so that's the kind of people we want to build around and be around for a long time. And so how lucky am I coming in here? I got Devin Booker on my team, I got Chris Paul. We got players. I'm not going to name them all once again because we got players. And with Devin Booker specifically, which is what your question was, like, man, he's a great player and a great person. And that's what I like to be around.
Awesome. And just last question, what are your kind of impressions of the city of Phoenix so far? Obviously, you mentioned the weather, but what are your impressions of the city? And have you found a favorite food spot yet?
Not a favorite food spot yet, because I've been basically just fast food or eating in the hotel because I've been working out here. But, from a perspective of the city, people are welcoming. Now I know that I'm the owner in the Suns and Mercury and their few. But before anyone knew who, welcoming, friendly, kind, it's a great place. I'm excited to make an impact in the community. I'm excited to meet people, be engaged, be involved. And it's an honor that I get a chance to do that.
Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you would like to broadcast to the fans or you would want Suns fans to know about you?
No, I'm just honored. Like I said, I really believe that it's a community asset and I work for you guys. And I'm going to do my very best and just know that I will work harder than any other owner to do the right thing, short-term, long-term, and always for these organizations. And it's going to start with culture, start with, from team member, fan experience, community, and focus on winning. And we're starting today. Let's go.
Awesome. We'll have to have you on the podcast sometime.
Let me know when.
Good
Did you
job,
tell
Gerald.
him tomorrow? We'd love to have him for the trade
Right?
deadline.
Tomorrow, right after the trade deadline, 3 p.m. Come on
You can
over.
bring James with you. Why not?
We're just down the street. You may as well just pop on by.
Yeah.
You're not busy, are you?
So I think the most interesting thing, the G League question that came up.
Yeah, I mean, he is obviously, he was saying, I don't know what the timeline is for it, how that happens. Like, it's my first day here. But he is very gung-ho about having a G League team, which is a reassurance to me, because if you're not willing to invest that type of money or resources into developing talent, like, what are we doing here? But he was very much on the page of, I believe in investing in that sort of thing. So the Suns will have a G League team again, and he was talking about it being somewhere near Phoenix so that they can send players up and down. He was talking about looking at other organizations and seeing how they do it and trying to emulate that and then build on that and make it even better. So
Did you
that's
tell him,
great.
Did you tell him he can visit the old one in Detroit? It's there.
Does this mean that we can start valuing the draft more because we can actually offer developmental stability for these guys?
We've still got James Jones and the F them kids mentality, so we'll see.
Well, I mean,
Maybe that's what you could name the G League team.
But if you don't have the assets to value it, then I understand why James Jones wouldn't want to go that route,
Fair.
right? Like
Right.
if you're not able to help develop these young players into what their potential could be, what's the point of putting value in it?
I
right?
think that's fair. I mean, if it's not an organizational priority, why would you prioritize it in the way you're going about building your roster as well? But I'm telling you, the Northern Arizona F them kids sounds like a great franchise for James Jones.
I would rock that merch.
That would
100%
be
of
an
the time.
awesome shirt. But yeah, I think as far as looking ahead to the draft and things of that nature, obviously his big thing was, I'm here to listen and learn. I'm going to evaluate. He's coming in. He's going to do his due diligence. He said he wasn't going to make any major changes before the end of the season. So I think this is a big trade deadline for James Jones. It may also be a big draft for him, depending on what they do with their picks. And if James Jones is still in his current position by then, we'll see. Like, there's still a lot up in the air, but he is kind of coming at it like, I believe in development. I believe in figuring out who does what here and going from there, because he is kind of the new guy. And We've brought this up before as far as there are still probably some people within this organization that were under the Sarver regime that might need to go still. So I hope that is also a part of it, not just things like the scouting department and the drafting and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think, Ishbia brings an interesting perspective too, being a guy that was a walk-on at MSU. He understands the value of cultivating talent because, Tom Izzo could have easily just said, yeah, we don't care about this kid, right? And that could have changed the trajectory of everything he did. But Tom Izzo was like, nope, we want you in this program. We want you to work with these guys. I want you to sit next to me and help me see things from the player's perspective. So I think he will have a great value in trying to build people both on the business and on the basketball operation side. So hopefully that goes a long way.
So we got a comment from Amelia in the chat during the interview, and they said he really seems like a cool guy as a person. Obviously, he had his ex-wife at the conference, his kids, his family. Like when he spoke about family, he seemingly truly embodied that in the terms of, we may not be in this type of a relationship or this business relationship anymore, but that doesn't mean that we have to be spiteful or hateful towards one another. But she said, why am I still so skeptical about him? Is he too good to be true? We'll see.
Amelia, I think there's a big reason for that. We've all been hurt for 18 years.
Trauma.
If you have a bad relationship, it doesn't just go away the second that relationship ends.
And I feel like it's okay to have a little bit of hesitation, right? It's okay to want to see the words come to fruition. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you're allowed to be a little bit reserved and to wait for some time to pass before deciding one way or the other how you feel about where the Suns currently are at. I feel like I got overall good vibes from Mat Ishbia and his brother Justin, and just as a whole, I feel like things are pretty solid, but I do think that time will give us more answers into what the future for the Suns and the Mercury actually does look like. Because we also need to know what the pocketbooks look like, right?
Sure.
Obviously, money can't be all of it, but when it comes to the winning side of things, you do kind of have to be willing to spend some money and go over the cap quite a few times.
Yeah, but they've got some very deep pockets.
Yes.
Mat Ishbia, Justin Ishbia is a billionaire. John Najafi, who stayed, is a billionaire. Like, this is no longer the cheap regime. This isn't the dollars and cents regime. This is, as Ishbia said in the press conference, success will bring the money. And, there are a lot of things that you go, okay, maybe it's platitudes. That felt like a core value and his business strategy.
Yeah.
Is if you go out there and you succeed, the money will follow. So being your best and doing your best is key to it. So that's the mentality you need in sports. You can't be sitting and going, oh, well, if I spend this, am I really going to get it back? It's belief in it.
What's my ROI?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the money follows success thing is something he's been consistent on from when the article started leaking yesterday to hearing him speak in the press conference and one-on-one today. He's been very consistent on that, and I think it fits in line with his identity as a competitor who was a player who didn't get a ton of minutes and who now kind of embodies a lot of those same qualities with his own business. He's a competitive guy. He wants to win. He wants to find every angle to win. He's a guy that he's said multiple times, I don't get a lot of sleep. I'm trying to maximize every hour of the day. And yes, again, a lot of that sounds like platitudes, but if that's the way that he actually operates, the two things that I care about are him being competitive and trying to make these franchises really good and competitive elite franchises, and just treating his employees, human beings, with respect. And that's the way it seems over at his business. And as long as he's able to bring those two things, that's all that you want in an owner, really. Like you want someone who's willing to put their money where their mouth is, be competitive, and just not be a complete asshole to employees. So far, so good. A lot of actions that will need to back up the talk, but I was optimistically encouraged by what I saw and heard today.
You guys want a fun fact?
Sure.
Mat Ishbia is now one of only 2 owners in the NBA to own a NCAA basketball championship and a basketball franchise. Him and Michael Jordan.
Yep. There we go.
Well, that's
So
pretty
we got
good
our
company to
NBA,
be in. We did get a super chat from HM. HM, thank you for your super chat. Said 2 things I'm waiting for. 1, trades, and 2, Espo's Roman ad read. HM,
already
unfortunately,
legendary,
we don't
jeez.
have a Roman ad read today. You're going to have to wait a few more days for that one. I don't know when the next one is, but it'll be a surprise. But if you are clamoring for a solid Roman ad read, no pun intended, check out the Coyote Show because PD did a phenomenal job with his today.
I'm coming for you, PD. I'm going to get up for that next ad read, and I'm going
already-
to crush it.
You're already laying the puns on thick. I'm worried.
But as far as the first thing you're asking for in trades, we will talk about that here in just a second. But first, I got to tell you about more money type stuff, right? The DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's a fantastic way to what's the word I'm looking for?
Earn money?
To enhance your sports viewing experience. It's a lot of fun on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Obviously, you've seen us bicker and fight about our competition here on this show when
You're
it
gonna
comes to
lose.
bets on the DraftKings Sportsbook app that I am winning, by the way. But also the Super Bowl is just around the corner and prop bets are really fun. And for my pick of the week, I'm going to go ahead and take tails for the coin toss.
Okay.
Heads and tails on the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now are both at a plus 100.
Mhm.
I'm just going to say I'm going to take tails.
Tails never fails.
There you go.
I'm going to take orange Gatorade as the
Orange.
Gatorade
Oh,
step
orange,
forward.
okay.
I feel like it's
Feeling
blue
it.
or red 100% of the time.
Go orange.
Yellow is the best, though, just so we're
It is the
all in
best flavor.
agreement.
Ooh,
It's
I
the
don't know
best
about
flavor for sure.
Agreed.
But if you have not downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make sure you download it right now and sign up with the code PHNX, because when you use that code, new customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, with that code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. Am I the only one that, Espo, you and I are pretty much the only ones that have done DraftKings reads here. Do you always struggle with eligibility?
Oh, yes.
It just feels like it just fumbles out of your mouth.
The whole Ohio thing's throwing me off, too.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, Ohio, you can't have
Sorry,
fun.
y'all.
And I can't say eligibility. Like, hey, I did it. Hey, look at
Come
that.
hang out with us
Please
in
do.
Arizona. Have some fun over here. It's a lot.
It is.
The weather is nicer. Much nicer.
Especially right now.
In my opinion, yes. Also, our friends over at More Furniture, they have the best furniture offerings in the Valley. If you guys are looking to spruce up your home, spring is just around the corner. It's a great time to reorganize the spring cleaning, throw out the old, in with the new. Make sure you check out our friends over at More Furniture to save big on the best furniture in the Valley. You can also find them at morefurniture.com, and make sure you opt in for that white glove delivery service that they offer,
nice.
because chef's kiss on top of an already phenomenal experience. And last thing, we're having a meetup tonight at Illegal Pete's. So if you guys want to come hang out with us, our entire PHNX crew and members from our all city sister cities, so DNVR and CHGO, will also be out there. It's Illegal Pete's on Mill in Tempe. And it's going to be a lot of fun. This Wednesday, today, February 8th at 7 p.m. is when we'll all be arriving. Grab some food, have some great drinks, and hang out with all of us. It's free to come hang out. You don't have to register. Just quite literally roll up with your friends and let's enjoy a good beverage and some food together.
And guess what? We no longer have a certain person around the Suns anymore. It's time to celebrate.
Mhm.
So if you come out and you walk up to me and say the word Saskatoon, I'll buy you whatever drink you want.
Saskatoon?
Saskatoon.
That's
a fun
Saskatoon.
word.
So you come say that, you're getting a free drink on me. Come celebrate tonight. Saskatoon will get you a free drink.
Okay.
What a fancy word. I
Saskatoon.
love that.
I wanted to make it fun.
That's a good
You got to
word.
work a little bit to get your free booze.
All right, let's talk about the trade situation.
I'd love to,
Sure.
but Twitter's down, so I
So
don't know.
Twitter's down, so we don't really have the latest on what's happening. But
The whole
what we
league
heard,
could have been traded.
Killing
what
us,
we had
Elon.
heard, at least prior to Twitter going down, comes from Shams, and he said the Lakers, Jazz, and Timberwolves are in discussions on a 3-team deal that would send D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers, Russell Westbrook, and draft compensation such as a first-round pick to Utah, and Mike Conley Jr. to Minnesota, sources say. Does this mean we're not getting D'Lo?
I mean, I'm going to be pissed if the Lakers trade Westbrook and a pick and walk away with D'Lo, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. Like, that would be highway robbery. And I don't know what Danny Ainge would be doing, especially I know that he may be setting the bar high by saying, oh, I want a first rounder for Vando and for Malik and for Mike Conley and for whoever else we're going to trade. But like, if he only gets one out of this and it's the Lakers pick in like 2027.
He'll be like, that's what I meant, a first round pick. You guys assumed I meant per person.
He said each. Or at least that's what the reporting was.
Do you think Minnesota gives one of their picks back? Or no, Minnesota gave them all the picks. Never mind.
Yeah,
so Minnesota has nothing left to give. I don't know what's going on here.
And the Timberwolves, like, okay, you're going from D'Lo to Mike Conley. That's a little bit of a downgrade this year. He's at least under contract next year, so you're saving yourself having to worry about Russell's free agency.
Yeah,
but
he's
like
45.
Well, he's not 45, but
Okay.
yes, he's old. I don't get how things just keep falling into the Lakers' laps. Like this package makes sense if they're giving up both of the remaining picks that they have to trade. If they're only giving up one, that is complete and utter horseshit, and I don't know what the Jazz or the Timberwolves are doing, making them better. Like, you're banishing Westbrook to Utah, you're trading D'Lo for Mike Conley, and then the Lakers are just getting all the good stuff. Like, what is going on here?
Well, yeah, Minnesota, it's a total head scratcher. Mike Conley Jr. doesn't make you better at having to be your starting point guard, and it really, your future isn't any brighter because of it. Yeah, he's under contract next year. Great, you've got a guy who would be great on a team that has a point guard, and he's the backup that's trying to help you win something. But this is, I get it. Utah gets an asset and they can buy out Westbrook, fine. But Minnesota, that part makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Okay, well, 10 minutes ago, we got a Woj tweet that said, per sources, the 3-team trade is largely hinging on how Minnesota values D'Angelo Russell in potential deal and their return of draft assets. Lakers and Jazz have significant deal structure in place, but Minnesota has been engaged elsewhere on Russell too. So it seems like Minnesota is the one piece of the puzzle in this 3-team deal that is like, I'm not quite ready to commit fully to this yet.
Unless Minnesota leaked this to try to drum up more interest in D'Lo.
Could be.
That's the thing. We're in subterfuge. We're in smokescreen time right now. Everybody's every report you see, there is a reason it's being leaked. There is a poker move that's going on, a chess move that's going on behind the scenes with it. So who knows right now? Maybe they want more involved in the D'Lo thing. Maybe a team like the Suns made a really lame offer and they're trying to get something else out of it. Minnesota needs a lot because they've mortgaged their future to get Gobert. Their present is pretty dark right now too, so they need to figure out something.
Minnesota's like, can we get back some of those assets that we accidentally gave away?
We screwed
Sorry.
up.
We has. I feel bad for Mike Conley, man. He just got away from Rudy Gobert, and now they're trying to ship him back to him. That sucks, man. That's tough.
Okay, so if something, obviously the speculation, well, it's not even speculation. I think it was reported that if this were to materialize, this trade, that Utah would likely buy out Russell Westbrook. If Westbrook becomes available on the buyout market, are you a yay or a nay for the Suns to go after him?
If they've done nothing else, I'm a yay, just because you need to. Look, I'd rather have him than campaign.
I'm just saying.
We don't even know what's going on with campaign.
To be honest, timeline. This is the darkest timeline.
Look, what are we? We're sitting 19 hours away, roughly. My math sucks. It's probably more than that, but anyways, we're sitting less than 24 hours away from the deadline. We may be inching towards the darkest timeline. There may not be anything that happens. I mean, we haven't heard a Jay Crowder rumbling in a week.
No, we haven't.
Like, what's going on that? If you wind up not even trading Jay Crowder, my head may explode tomorrow on our trade deadline.
That's malpractice if you don't trade Jay Crowder, because what the fuck are you going to do with him?
Okay.
Well, let him sit on his ass at home.
Let's just play a little game here, okay?
Okay.
We move Jay Crowder and all we get back are picks. Let's say 2 second-round picks.
Oh, my God.
And that's all we've done.
Well,
and Westbrook becomes available on the buyout market. You still going to tell me you're a nay?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you I'm a nay. I'm sorry. He's not good anymore.
But
Like,
even
he's not a
coming off
good
your
player.
bench, he
He
could
could
put his head down and get to the rim,
He
though.
can get to the
But-
free
And
throw
he can
line.
get to the free throw
But
line.
he's a guy who expects to be on the floor.
Do you
late in
really think that at
games.
this point, I feel like Westbrook has shown us, especially in this season with the Lakers, that he is willing to take a back seat?
Wasn't it just reported today that he and Darvin Ham got into a shouting match?
You don't know
But
about what, though.
was
He
that
could have said, hey,
about?
your mother's
It
ugly.
didn't
I feel
necessarily
like
have to
we're-
be about what was
I
going on.
feel like we're
court.
like trying to like keep it on the rails as far as why Westbrook would make sense. And the truth is he can't shoot. He's a guy that he's good in a bench role on a losing team. Like that is his optimal
Okay,
role at
you
this
don't think
point
he
in his
can be
career.
an okay
No,
roll off the bench on a good team?
I would rather have Campaign than Russell Westbrook because at least Campaign knows his role and isn't trying to interject himself into a late game lineup with this Suns team. Like I don't
reality
want
is we may not
anything to
even
do with-
have Campaign, though. He had a cryptic tweet yesterday that sounded like it may be an injury setback. Like there's all sorts. I don't know.
I don't look. I think Russ has been unfairly miscast as like the scapegoat for all of his last couple teams' problems. I think people exaggerate that he's like some sort of locker room cancer or whatever, and I don't think he is. I think he's been a good teammate and a guy that players are okay with having around, but his skill level has fallen off and his mindset is still the same as it's ever been. And that's a problem when you have a player that is unable to reconcile the two things. I wouldn't want any part of him, even on a buyout.
So you'd rather have Saban Lee
Yes.
as your backup point guard the rest of the way?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
Well, listen, most of the people in the chat agree with you as well. And clearly think that Espo and I are incorrect in our thoughts on this one. But
Look, I'm desperate.
It's okay.
All right? I'm desperate. If they do nothing and I'm left here going, I got to try to figure out how this team's going to win a title without upping that bench. I don't, Gerald, I don't want to be hurt.
It's fair.
I want a shot here. All right.
It's fair, but between the turnovers, the defense, the mindset thing I was talking about, I don't see him being a good fit on this team.
I feel like Westbrook is a good person who has been, I think the rumors have been vast and wide, and a lot of them have been incorrect. That's just that's my opinion. That's my 2 cents on it. And I think that happens with a lot of players, actually. I think a lot of people in the media and on social media, we all get this like thought or something happens and then we create a narrative out of it. And then all of a sudden that narrative sticks when in actuality, it's probably further from the truth than you can even imagine as far as what really happened in that situation.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say.
I
Sometimes I feel like players get miscast unfairly, and I don't think it's fair.
Oh, Dagoon in the chat says, if they don't do anything, I'm holding Espo responsible. How is it my fault? I'm screaming they need to do something.
I'm glad we're getting to the root of the issue here. Thank you, Dagoon.
Maybe that is why. Maybe they're like, that Espo guy is never right. Maybe we should stand pat.
Oh, that's tough.
Oh my goodness gracious. That one was more spicy. I think that was one of the spicier names that we've thrown out as far as the chat's reaction.
Yeah.
Pretty much since we started talking about the trade deadline, 2 months ago almost now, it feels like?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're really on a collision course for Jay Crowder and Dario Saric for Eric Gordon, aren't we?
This is how we know we're down bad when we're talking about second rounders for Jay and Russell Westbrook on the buyout market. We are down bad. We need a trade.
To be fair,
To be fair.
Matt Ishbia did say multiple times yesterday and today that he believes that this team, when healthy as is a championship contending team.
Right.
So I think if we're reading the tea leaves here, there is a path to where maybe a move is made. And they are also setting us up to not get our feelings hurt if a major move is not made.
Then why did they rush? Why did they do all this to get Mat Ishbia in the position to own the team the day before the trade deadline if they're going to do nothing? That seems like a catastrophic waste of the league's time, of our time, of Mat Ishbia's time.
Because there's always the potential of a what if, right? Like, did anybody see Kyrie all of a sudden forcing his way out of Brooklyn? No. So what happens, again, if it was a Kevin Durant who did that instead of Kyrie Irving. And Mat Ishbia is not in place and is not able to make the decision to go after him. That's why they rushed it. Not because there was this big move that was already almost on the dotted line behind the scenes we didn't all know about, but just in case there was something like that that could have materialized, he needed to be in place to be able to say yes or no.
This has James Jones written all over.
I mean, I feel like he could be laying the groundwork to say, like, okay, we're good enough as is. Like, if we don't make any moves, we're still good once we get healthy. But I do think there was something to the fact that he addressed, we have a player that we need to trade, Jay Crowder, obviously. And if we have avenues to get better, we're going to pursue those, because it's all about increasing your probability of winning a title. It's never going to be 100%, because one ankle turn, one trade could change everything. But I do think that could be new owner speak coming in, like, yeah, we love what we have, but we can make it even better, that type of thing. I don't want to read too much into it, because he has acknowledged, like, yeah, we need to trade Jay Crowder because we have a player that's not playing for us right now. We can get better through that avenue.
Yeah, but that's low-hanging fruit to be able to be like, yeah, we need to move Jay Crowder.
But
like,
of course it is. But it's also low-hanging fruit to say we really like what we have. Like, that's just new owner talk to me. That's not necessarily we're going to keep everybody that we have, including an injured Landry Shamet and an injured Campaign. I think he's talking more about the core of the team, the guys that we keep hearing, you know, what if they trade DA, or like, is Cam Johnson available? All this other type of stuff. And I think that's what you're supposed to say as a new owner. You don't come in saying like, oh yeah, Cam, we like him, but man, he can't stay on the court. Like,
it's time to burn
the
ship down. Like,
if somebody came in as the new owner of a team and said anything remotely close to that,
right,
issues would arise very quickly.
That phrase he used, though, very much felt like James Jones.
Which one?
I'm getting so choked up about. I need them to make a move, Gerald.
That's like
I'm
a baby
crying,
bear yawn.
all right? I'm crying.
It was like a yawn that got
I
stuck.
yawned, all right? I'm tired. It's been a long week. Screw all of you.
Oh,
anyways, the we may not make a move because we think we have,
He never said we may not make a move.
Okay,
he just said we think we already have a team that can compete, which is what we have all said on this show. But they need to get better. He's saying we think we can and we'll try. We'll be aggressive. Like,
I just feel like tomorrow we're going to hear James Jones echo a similar thing. We like what we have. We think we can win with this group, and we wanted to see what happens.
It would be a major short-sighted approach if they took that. Like, just tell us you couldn't get a deal done. I'd rather hear that than like, oh yeah, we like what we have.
All right, I got a couple questions that I want to bring up from the chat. This one's my favorite one. Aaron said, just curious, how did we find out about trades before the internet? Radio?
I have no clue.
For real though, did you just have to wait until like the newspaper came out the next day to find out all of this information? Did you have to turn on like the 7 p.m. news?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was probably television was my most
could you
common
imagine
before
having
Twitter.
to like, and then what happens if you missed that broadcast?
Right.
Or if your dog ate that newspaper, like you just didn't know?
It was television or radio for me.
Gosh.
That's
that would
wild.
be so brutal.
You know what?
That's how it feels right now with Twitter being down.
I know. I'm like
with
constantly refreshing.
Twitter like going down today of all days.
Horrible fucking timing.
Woj is just running around screaming his updates right now. He doesn't know what to do.
Oh my goodness gracious. And then go ahead.
How we've become so reliant on Twitter for these kind of things. Like, it's insane.
I hate you, Elon.
And then there was another one, and I don't remember who had asked, and I'm really sorry for not being able to find it, but they wanted to know if we would trade Book and DA for Wembanyama.
Book and DA for Wembanyama?
Yeah.
No.
Book and DA for Wembanyama?
Yeah, that's what they asked.
No. Not Book and DA.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
I mean, Wembanyama is going to be fun.
But you're literally tearing down a championship contender to maybe be a championship contender down the line. And I think Wembanyama is the most heralded and rightfully so prospect since LeBron and Zion. Those are the only two that I think even come close. And I still wouldn't, you don't tear down a winning organization to maybe be a winning organization later.
And you say LeBron and Zion, and that's 50% hit right now. because Zion continues to be injured. When he's playing, he's great.
Right.
But the injury thing, which tells you there's no sure thing, right?
Yeah.
Because anything can happen with these guys. So I'd much rather stick with the known quantity. But this depends on what kind of person you are. Are you risk adverse? Are you a risk taker? Like it plays a lot in this. And to me, I'm somewhat risk adverse. So I'm like, I'd rather stick with DA and Book and try to build the group around them than take the flyer on Wembanyama.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is from Ryan. They said, hypothetically speaking, if Jay Crowder does not get traded before the deadline, does he come back and join the team?
No.
Nope, which is why it would be an absolute travesty if they don't trade him, because now you not only have your 15th roster spot open, but you have your 14th roster spot dedicated to a guy who is going to play 0 games for you.
And then at that point, I don't think you can justify buying him out.
No, because then
him.
he gets to go somewhere else and help another team for free.
Yeah,
you get nothing in return.
You've rewarded him by paying him, upwards of the full $10 million you owe him, and he gets to choose where he goes. Nope. I'm sorry. I'm petty, and I don't mind saying that. So
yeah. No, I as petty as it sounds, it's also kind of principle though too, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. This is I hate that we're even put in this position, because 99.9% of the time, I will always side with the player and the athletes. But this situation, without context of any information of what happened behind the scenes, it just feels different, feels scummy and lame for whatever reason, and I hate it. I don't know. If I had more context and it was something that was the team's fault, then I 100% would be on Jay's side of the situation. But this feels weird. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Caesar Woj just announced on LinkedIn that Kevin Durant's been traded to the Suns.
Oh, no. How exciting.
Look out the window, guys. We have a giant window off to the left of us. Roman is actually taunting us. There's a plane flying.
Is that Is that them?
That or my daughter has rented a plane to try to flag me down. So,
oh my goodness gracious. Fantastic. Well, we are not here to tell you about Roman today, maybe later on in this week, but we are here to tell you about the Underdog Fantasy app and how much fun it is to play fantasy sports on the Underdog Fantasy app. They do daily fantasy sports differently. Espo will tell you all the time that when it comes to baseball and basketball, and Espo, I'm the same way, it is very hard to commit to a season-long fantasy league, because there are games every other night, every single night, it feels like, and sometimes just getting on and even setting your lineup becomes difficult when you're going through the day-to-day things that you have to do with life. You know what I mean?
Let's be honest. We're not kids anymore. We're not, we have things to do.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about.
Yeah, 162 game baseball season is next to impossible to do.
But on the Underdog Fantasy app, you can play daily fantasy sports, and you can get 5 of your friends together. You guys can do the pick'ems game, and the more legs you add, the more money you can win. And pick'ems is super easy. You just pick higher or lower, and whoever has the best night on their picks wins a bunch of cash. Like, you can't be mad at that. And the Underdog Fantasy app is also really easy to navigate. It's very easy to get started. Either download the app on your phone or go to underdogfantasy.com. But when you sign up, make sure you sign up with the promo code PHNX, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. Take advantage of that offer that our friends over at Underdog want to give to you. And then last but not least, the Spaghetti Shack, a new member of the PHNX family. We are happy to have them. They are owned and operated by ASU alums. So forks up, everybody. Go ASU. Leah's producing our show, so she's very upset about that right now.
Bear down.
They also their mission is pretty cool. I like this, right? Because I can get on board with this. They want to provide quality food that is also affordable, and they want to get it to you as quickly as possible so that you can spend less time cooking and spend more time with your loved ones. I don't know about you guys, but that is one of my biggest beefs with cooking, is that it takes so long, and then the cleanup also takes so long, and I'm just like, really? For what? Like, I would rather just head on down to the Spaghetti Shack, pick up a really great meal that can be catered to whatever size family you have, and be able to take the guesswork and the legwork all out of it.
The toughest part for me is we had it here. So since I didn't have to cook, I had to spend more time with the staff.
Gerald, you had it. How was it? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was solid.
I heard the garlic bread is fire.
It is.
So,
It's good.
I mean, the Spaghetti Shack is a community-focused to-go pasta concept that started right here in Tempe, Arizona by 5 lifelong friends. Oh, I love that. And they are currently serving Tempe and Queen Creek, and they hope to come to your neighborhood soon. If you have not checked them out and given them a shot, make sure you do. That's the Spaghetti Shack once again. All right, what else, you guys? What else is on your mind trade-wise?
I just want to know how they got 5 lifelong friends. I mean,
that's a great
I'm
question.
interested in that. Can I acquire that at the trade deadline?
Can I join your friends group, please? And
can I acquire one at the deadline? Any? No? Look, something's got to happen in the next handful of hours, like before 1 o'clock tomorrow. Preferably in the hours that we're awake and near the studio, but I'll take it any time between now and then. This team has too many expiring salaries. They've got too much on the line right now not to leverage this. James Jones has had a propensity for not making the move. We need to see him make the right moves here to put this team in a position to succeed. Waiting any longer on Kevin Durant than right now seems borderline basketball criminal, right? You've got assets available to try to make your team better, and you have to do that right now. There is a chance, like I said yesterday, to win a title. I don't think you're going to see the league more wide open than it is right now in the near future. Teams will get better, and you have a chance to take advantage of it. And they failed to do it last year by solidifying spots of weakness. They can't fall to the same issue again this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You can't get caught with your hand in the Kevin Durant cookie jar again before the trade deadline. I understand that he's a great player. I understand that he could be available again in the offseason. All the more reason to make trades that make you better, that bring on contracts that maybe you can move and have more flexibility with a Kevin Durant trade, a 3-team trade over the summer. Obviously, if you give up a first-round pick or 2, that's going to hurt your chances, but you have to focus on this window now. Obviously, if Kevin Durant decides like, hey, I'm sitting out, I'm forcing my way out in the next couple of hours, that changes things. But until that happens, there's no reason to think the Nets are going to play fair game with you on that.
No.
So you need to set your sights elsewhere. You need to focus on this year's team. And you can put yourself in a position where you might even be a better Kevin Durant trade partner over the summer, depending on who you get. Mm-hmm. So something to keep in mind.
I'm at the point where go get a Gary Trent Jr., somebody of that ilk that isn't a star, but is a guy that can help you. And even if it takes a first-round pick, go do it. Take your chance. Roll the dice. Try to win this year, but also potentially give yourself a guy that you can re-sign and move pieces around in the offseason. Waiting for the offseason isn't an option.
Yeah, I don't want to wait for the offseason. No, thank you. I would like to get off this ride if that is the case. Mm-hmm. I do want to go back to the whole Jay Crowder thing. A couple people in the chat are saying it's definitely the team's fault. Crowder should have been traded before the season. Honestly, I think y'all probably are right. Like the fact that we have let this be drawn out for so long is probably really bad. And there's a debate on whether Crowder is overrated or underrated here in Phoenix. It seems like it's split pretty 50-50. Both things can be true at the same time. But I do think that I understand James Jones' perspective of like wanting to utilize him in a trade for maybe like a bigger package or something. But I do think it was a disservice to both team and Jay to sit on it for this long. And it sucks that we're in this situation. I just wish Jay was playing. Yeah. Like it would be way more enjoyable if Jay was playing with us right now.
And this team would have been a lot better during that rough stretch when Cam Johnson was out and they had all these injuries. To have a guy like Jay when their defense was struggling, that's been a real obstacle for them to overcome. I reserve the right to change my mind about them sitting on it too long, depending on what James Jones does. Because if he puts Crowder to good use, that's better than, if he had just made a trade to get rid of him before the season starts. But again, he has to do that. Like, he has to go out and actually make that move. And until he does, we're going to be skeptical about what Crowder's value is and whether they should have waited this long. He still has a chance to prove us wrong on that, though.
Well, we have like what? How many hours would this be? 21 hours? Something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
21 hours until the
hours
trade deadline.
Until
officially.
the trade deadline?
So prediction, do they do something?
Yes. Tomorrow, probably at like 9, and then I'll be really upset that it is so early.
I think they have to. I just can't see them not, even if it's just a Jay Crowder for something.
Yeah. I'm going to say yes, and I think it happens right at 7 o'clock while we are at dinner. And it is the most
Hanging out at a
complicated.
later
way
I
date.
to
thought
do it.
about that earlier.
Yes.
My
that
other
is-
my other theory is tomorrow at 11, right when the Coyote show is live. Just
Oh,
to
Well,
screw with you
11 would
guys.
be, I mean, that would be the deadline for, 1
No,
p.m.
1
our
p.m. 's
time,
the
3
deadline.
p.m. East. I
Yeah.
don't know why I was thinking 1 p.m. was their time.
Look, if something
Um,
happens, we're going to be live in a quick manner around it, and we will
Yeah.
talk to you about it, good, bad, or ugly. We will
Mhm.
be here to discuss it, to commiserate, to celebrate, or just to be confused. We'll be
Yeah.
here with you.
We'll likely be live within 30 minutes to an hour, give or take, depending on what time
10
and where
minutes.
we are.
I'm going to say
Probably.
10 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
10 minutes.
the
Shit.
producers say no.
Yeah.
I'm just
So
going to have you create graphics
aggressive.
for every potential guy they could acquire between now and then.
But hopefully it'll be good news, and hopefully we will all be excited and in a great mood and celebrating together and maybe crying tears of joy. Who knows? One can dream, right? But keep an eye out. If Twitter is down, we'll obviously put the link in the Discord. But just know, if you see or hear a trade actually happen, just come over to YouTube and we'll be live sooner rather than later.
Yes.
And until then, you can follow me.
I do have 2 tidbits because we didn't
God.
get to touch on
Oh.
these
Okay.
before. No, sorry. I should. Disclaimer: I did not see a trade break or anything like that.
Twitter
I should
just came back up. I
apologize. I
didn't know.
apologize. But for tomorrow's game, Devin Booker is out with left groin injury management. I want to say it's unfortunate, but it probably should have been expected with the way that they've been doing with Cam Johnson
Yeah.
and the back-to-back. So they're giving him an extra day to rest. He'll most likely play on Friday, I'm assuming. And the other thing we didn't really touch on with the Ishbia stuff is that we did ask about Isaiah Thomas, and he shot that down saying that for now, there's no role for him. So he didn't entirely shut the door like I think a lot of people would have liked him to do, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be joining the organization. And we got that from his spokesperson as well.
Seems to me like, as far as the Isaiah Thomas stuff goes, it seems like he would be sort of a sounding board. Maybe what's the word? What's
a confidant.
No,
Consultant.
it's consultant. Thank
Mm.
you. Like a
Consigliere.
consultant for Mat Ishbia, but not have a quote unquote titled role within the
Yeah.
organization.
Right.
Like, if I had to guess, that's how I would interpret the what Isaiah Thomas might be in the future.
Huh.
That's just my guess. I could be way wrong, but that's my guess.
And I imagine that might also be why he was talking with Steve Nash, because
Yeah.
he wants a group of people that he can bounce ideas off of that will give him perspective.
Which, honestly, I think it was actually Baxter Holmes who tried to follow up about the whole Isaiah Thomas stuff with a question like, who is
Oh,
the
it was,
person you can lean on? Who was that?
Right. No, so I think, Baxter did ask about who he can lean on, and then Kent Summers followed up about Isaiah specifically. But
Yeah. But basically, like, okay, maybe not in a legitimate, like, quote unquote titled role, but is this somebody that you can just have to confide in, to bounce ideas off of? And
Right.
he gave us a nice answer that he has a lot of people that in his corner that he can do that with, but nothing specific.
Let me, can I say one last thing before we go?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Baxter Holmes is a baller to show up at the building that he basically burned to the ground
Yeah.
and say, "Oh, the new guy's here."
Yeah.
Applaud. I was impressed with Baxter showing up there today.
Yeah, and he's also very kind.
He was,
We
very
got to
much
talk
so.
to him today too, and just said thanks.
Yeah,
Nice
thank
and quiet guy. I'm like,
Thanks.
all right, yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Baxter Holmes. It's a good way to put a bow on this show.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourgay. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
We're like Batman. When Woj puts up that tweet, we'll be here for you. Ahoy, hoy.
My lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though. Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball. We here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me. I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G. No plan B. Always on the job. My team move like the mob. Turn the beat on. I throw it down.